something happens, like an assassination attempt or whatever, we know it's up to us. We don't have any prosecutorial power. And we also, many of us have been resigned to the fact, the high probability that we're not going to get sufficient justice. The things that we see in the movies where bad guys are put away and there's some kind of a Scooby-Doo moment and the masks are ripped off and everybody fesses up to what they did, and then you just get to put them in jail. Something like that. That doesn't happen. But you know what? If you're going to be denied that kind of a climax, then at least we can have a little bit better understanding of what's going on by launching our own investigations, even if they're just, largely driven by speculation and circumstantial evidence. At least it's something than just getting gaslit and kept in the dark. And oh man, anyway, that's why people like our guest tonight, our return guest tonight, Lauren, is very, very valuable, because she's one of the types that goes out there and archives things that disappears rather quickly. Things that will be necessary, maybe very valuable tools, clues to the puzzle as time goes on. Pieces, I should say, to the puzzle. All right, well, it's 7:01. That's all I have for the opening. And oh, wait, a couple of things over here with what we got going on this week. Dr. Sean Brooks is going to be on with us tomorrow night. That's going to be a great one, because we're going into deep into the weeds of American education, conspiracies behind American education. A lot of what's going on today in the news is going to be there tomorrow as well. We're going to intertwine a lot of this stuff, especially the MK Ultra angle. Reverend Bill Bean is going to be on with us on September 18th. I don't know what I'm doing on Thursday the 19th just yet. Got a couple of ideas, but we'll see. It will be Fleckus Friday on September 20th, this Friday. And then on Saturday, it's my brother's birthday, September 21st. That's all I have for you. Next week is shaping up to be nice as well, but I won't get ahead of myself because there's plenty to do tonight. One other thing I want to say is that October 2024, I have a sponsorship special to offer you. On Patreon and on Subscribestar, I have a couple of Pen Pal openings in those tiers right now. I got 5 openings on Patreon of the War Department. That's the typewritten one. And then we have one 1776 handwritten on Patreon. For the month of October, if you become a Pen Pal, because there's only a couple of open there, if we can sell all those out, I will include in your first letter, you will get a Polaroid. We will send you a homemade bookmark, and I don't know, maybe some random item from around my house. I'll just send whatever I can into the envelope, and there you have it. And I also have another great thing to announce to you all. We're thinking about doing a special session in December, but starting in 2025, in the months in between book club meetings. So when we have a book club reading all throughout January, we'll read a book in January. In February, where there is no book, there's going to be film club. 1 movie a month. So we just get to watch one movie, we get together, maybe a guest co-host, we take calls on it, we break the movie down. It'll be really great. So in 2025, there's going to be book club, there's going to be film club, so many other reasons to become a monthly sponsor. I'm laying it all out there. I'm giving you hundreds and hundreds of dollars of value here. Invest in the show, because we got a lot of fun coming up, and we're going to need some really healthy distractions. There's nothing more healthy than reading, analyzing film, connecting with culture long past that we hope to revive again in the future. All right, a little bit into the grab bag. Here's something for you. We made some jokes, some RFK jokes, courtesy of the Babylon Bee on Friday night. It was a really, really fun show on Friday night. If you need something to sit back, relax, and have a couple of laughs, go back to Friday night's show. But here you go. Oh, that's a blank screen. Here you go. Here is a New York Post. I thought this was a Babylon Bee headline. Then I saw it was a New York Post. RFK Jr. investigated for decapitating a whale, and driving across state lines with the skull. My gosh. You think he hasn't eaten a cat before? Don't put it past him. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. said on Saturday he's being investigated over a decades-old story that he decapitated a dead whale and transported its skull across state lines. Kennedy made the admission during a campaign event for former President Trump, saying he had received a letter last week The report comes weeks after a left-wing environmental group resurfaced the whale story and called for an investigation. I received a letter from the National Marine Fisheries Institute saying that they were investigating me for collecting a whale specimen 20 years ago. They're all just so fucking petty, aren't they? This is about the weaponization of our government against political opponents, he said. No doubt. Kennedy did not offer details about the incident, but it first became public thanks to a 2012 interview with Kennedy's daughter, Kik Kennedy, with Town & Country magazine. In the interview, Kik describes her father cutting the head off of a dead whale and strapping it to the roof of their vehicle before driving from a beach in Massachusetts to Mount Kisco, New York, just a couple of miles away from me. We go bowling in Mount Kisco. I leased my last car from Mount Kisco, and this was happening the entire time. I'm sure much worse has happened in Mount Kisco. But here's the whole thing here. If that actually happened, why would she lie? Unless they're estranged and she just wants to cause trouble. But that was in 2012, this interview. The left-wing group, the Center for Biological Diversity Action Fund, had argued the dead animal was protected by the Marine Mammal Protection and Endangered Species, making it illegal to possess any part of it. They further claim that it is likely a felony violation. So what? If it's 20 years ago, statute of limitations is what? Statute would be, what, 7, 10 years at max? I don't know. There's really no statute on this? Every time we accelerate on the highway, whale juice would pour into the windows of the car, and it was the rankest thing on the planet. If that's real, I mean, he really is a strange guy. Hanging out with him must be a real wild experience. He must have stories. Well, he's a Kennedy. Of course they got stories. But the whale head man, I'm going to have, well, if he's tied up in litigation, then he won't be able to say anything. But if I ever get him in this studio one day, that's the real stuff I want to talk about. I want to talk about the whale head. I want to talk about his father and his uncle and just kind of stretch out with that. So we'll see where this all goes. 20 years. All right. We'll be right back. I got to set the stage for Lauren. And yes, it is going to be a good one tonight, my friends. So don't go anywhere.
You let one ant stand up to us, then they all might stand up. Those puny little ants outnumber us 100 to 1. And if they ever figure that out, there goes our way of life. It's not about food. It's about keeping those ants in line. That's why we're going back. Does anybody else want to stay? Let's rock!
But all that happened in that order. In fact, here's just a little bit for you from, this is from The Independent. And we'll just start with this. Where the hell are we at? Okay. Boom. Ryan Ruth. Is that how you say his name? We'll ask Lauren when she gets here. What we know about Trump shooting suspect caught with an AK-47 and a GoPro. Suspected gunman is now in custody after Secret Service agents foiled what appears to have been a second assassination attempt on Donald Trump in the space of just 2 months. Ryan Wesley Ruth, 58 years old, was identified by federal officials as a suspect who was allegedly armed with a powerful AK-47 style assault rifle and aimed it through the bushes at Trump National Golf Club in West Palm Beach, Florida, when the former president was playing a round of golf on Sunday. The suspect was around 300 to 500 yards away from Trump at the time. West Palm Sheriff Rick Bradshaw said in a press conference that at around 1:30 p.m., Secret Service agents spotted the butt of the gun through the fence and fired shots toward the suspect. It's not clear whether the accused gunman fired any shots. And to this point, I have heard consistently, no, there were no shots on his end. and that there was no line of sight on Trump as well. The shooter allegedly, or the hopeful allegedly, fled the scene with a witness taking a photo and noting the license plate on his black Nissan SUV. That's a black eye for Nissan right there. Officers from the Martin County Sheriff's Office in Florida, based near Trump's Mar-a-Lago estate, tracked down the vehicle on I-95 and captured the suspect. He's been taken into custody and is being held at the local county jail. The motive for the alleged attack remains unclear, but the FBI is treating it as an attempted assassination, and the Bureau said in a statement. Well, if you look at all of his social media, I think that it's not even just the social media, because, of course, just like the last one showing up in the BlackRock video, this guy is in all types of provocative, propaganda films. Propaganda just being shilling for one thing or another. He's a big Ukraine war simp, big shill for Ukraine war. I don't know how effective of a recruiter he was, but he tended to, based on what I've seen, he tended to promote himself as a very successful recruiter of getting volunteer military help to go out there and fight the Russians. Anyway, I don't know. I think motive is pretty clear. As far as who prompted him and what the genesis story was of this nut, of this glow-in-the-dark weirdo, I don't really know. I don't really know, but there's so many interesting questions, and we can get to all of them. But even though that wasn't nearly as close for Donald Trump, as we saw in Butler, Pennsylvania, there's still tons of those questions. Hopefully we can get a little bit around to tonight. And to build a case, you need evidence, which is why we're bringing in some bitch I know back on, just your average lady from Alabama who happens to be one of the most tenacious sleuths and archivists on social media. Lauren, welcome back.
Hi.
How you been?
I'm good. How are you? I'm running on fumes right now, but I'm happy to be here.
Well, you've had a busy day. First of all, congratulations. Congratulations on a great year for you, because plenty of great appearances and hat tips to your work all over the place this year so far.
Well, thank you very much. It's I don't know. I try not to think about it too much, to be quite honest, because then I start to get weird. You can't have that.
No, don't worry about that. You listen. This is the whole point. The news is all lipstick and high heels and empty suits and all that stuff, and it's the real world that's just kind of casually stepping into the void here, and I think that's a lot of fun. But you with this, you archived everything about this latest creature from the Black Lagoon, and before we get into some of the anomalies and things that you come up with, I want to ask one question to kick it off, and that is about this mysterious Asian woman, Sue Kim. I saw that he was this was one of his first or earliest follows in the bio. As you know, there was Rand Corp, there was CIA, all that stuff. Since this morning, has anybody, including yourself, been able to confirm whether or not she was a mutual or somebody he followed and followed back?
I have not been able to confirm that. No. Okay. I tend to just kind of gather initially. That's always the priority. So I'm still in the gathering phase. And also, again, I tried to go to sleep eventually, but the adrenaline has been kind of going, whenever there's like something kind of thrilling going on. I know. I don't know. I feel like I'm kind of running at half capacity right now. I did find an interesting podcast that she did about 2 years ago, in a partnership with Sue Mi Terry, who is the wife of Max Boot, who was just had charges filed against her for like foreign agent espionage charges. But as far as the two of them, no. But to be quite honest, I haven't really looked terribly hard yet.
Okay. So then when you're in a situation where you are right now, what is something that usually, what catches your eye? What do you gravitate toward first? What do you want to establish first?
Well, I guess the main kind of hubs of information, I have a list of essentially metadata for every person that should be relatively easy to find, whether it's their birthday, their hometown, the name of their parents, their siblings. Even if you are a pretty mysterious person, uh, with just a little bit of effort, these things should be pretty easy to find. Even like addresses and stuff, because voter registration, yada, yada, yada. Anyways, so tried to kind of identify the main socials, Facebook. I always go for LinkedIn first too, he does have a LinkedIn.
I
And
even
then
I have a LinkedIn. I haven't had any access to it in years, though. I got to try to find a way to get into it.
I love LinkedIn. I don't love it for the reason that I think you're supposed to like LinkedIn, but whereas a lot of behaviors have changed outwardly with a lot of like NGO and nonprofit types, government people, people like Bill Gates, for example, they've changed a lot of their behaviors that they display on platforms like Twitter, and a lot of these people have completely locked down their comments, and they have been locked down for years now. On LinkedIn, it's a completely different beast. Bill Gates doesn't have his comments locked there because everyone in his comments are like, "Oh, we love you. You're so brilliant." It's the worst of the worst kind of aspects of they kind of present it as like a job hunting place, but oh boy, if that's what I got to do to get a job somewhere, I don't think I want to do it,
I
kind of
know.
thing. But people like Peter Hotez, I know I'm getting off in the weeds, but that's kind of my specialty. Peter Hotez, the virologist who was a uh, stout, that's not a word.
Staunch.
Staunch, yeah.
It's okay.
I was thinking of Fauci and just like made up my own words.
Stouchy.
Yeah, a staunch Dr. Fauci, try to say that 5 times, defender. He like took a break from Twitter and like immediately was over on LinkedIn posting like constantly. So I tend to go there first when it comes to like anytime there's like Project Veritas drops some sort of report on some rando, middle management from a random company. I'll always go to LinkedIn first. And people often forget it, but it's a great place because they'll list out their coworkers and when they worked there. And I don't know, it's like the most detailed social media, but it's also terrible. So there's that.
Yeah.
So I went there. I went to the Facebook, and I didn't make it to the Instagram, but I think some other people got there. And then he has he's been involved with like four different LLCs and companies, like building um like a mini house, I guess. What
And,
are they called?
it's so strange because
Tiny homes, yeah.
he looks
Like,
homeless. You know,
yeah.
you
Well,
never think he was ever employed.
about 10 years ago, gauging by the dates on some of his Facebook, pictures and his fiance's Facebook pictures, he looked, relatively healthy. He still kind of had the crazy eyes thing going on, but he didn't look the way he looks now. And I do think that some of it seems to be he, some of his photos from Ukraine are, of course, like sitting in a very like almost like emo or angsty kind of teen way, like looking all sad and like some kind of like sepia toned photos. It's just very bizarre. It's a very bizarre man. And then there's also involvement with Taiwan. And I'm going to be honest, my kind of foreign, you know, policy knowledge is lacking, and always trying to flesh it out. But it's not like, you can't do like a cram sesh for just the
Yeah.
geopolitical state of like, the Pacific or whatever.
Yeah.
I guess you could, but I wouldn't trust it. But he's a bizarre man. He seems to be very led by emotions, wrote very, I guess, personal messages to a lot of different politicians about how I used to trust so and so, but now I'm all in on you. And he went through originally Trump, then Bernie, then Tulsi, then Nikki Haley, Vivek, and then I think back to Elizabeth Warren was his most recent political donation. It wasn't for much, but it was like, you know. Uh, so
But you know what you're
I
describing
don't.
right here.
It's he's a weird man.
This is what you're describing right here is like very fractal kind of a mentality. And
Yeah.
when you're describing this, I say to myself, just by analyzing culture, as this is what we do on my show in particular a lot, is just try to, what kind of environment is everybody coming up in right now? I expect this kind of a person to be a lot more prevalent in society. I expect people like this to act out and do terrible things and be very unpredictable and like, you know, like any crazy homeless vagrant would, you know, that's just it. It's just that there's more of them. So I look at the mutuals on Twitter. I consider, is this guy being handled or whatever. But the other thing is the big thing for me is, how the hell did he know to be there where he was? I know that there's been that question has been posed by a lot of people on and off television today about whether or not there is a mole, there's an inside guy. I tend to think that the first assassination attempt had plenty of endorsement from people working in the RNC.
Sure.
So okay, how about this? Before we go into anything that may have born a theory for you, what is the latest on this weapons of mass destruction? He had a charge for weapons of mass destruction. What was the nature of that weapon?
I believe it was a fully automatic weapon.
Okay.
I don't know if there was anything more that people have gleaned from that report, but I just think it had a belt fed something. I could be completely wrong on that. I've got a lot of little info points in my head right now, but I think that's what it was. Which begs the question, I don't even know what constitutes a weapon of mass destruction, you know?
I know.
It could be anything, I guess.
Yeah. I thought it was going to be some kind of a liquid concoction. You were going to tell me chlorine gas and I didn't know. But I guess that could be considered one of those things.
Yeah, he's making lewisite in his garage.
Yeah.
No.
A chain gun. A minigun or something like that. I can see how that would be.
Something like that, yeah. He also he had a charge from either 92 or 2002 where he like holed himself up in a store and had a standoff. He's got a very long rap sheet, and it's before that I found a newspaper clip of where he won police actor, like a police Oscar for stepping in as like a citizen law enforcement. It's I don't know.
Wow.
So I don't really know it. I don't want to disappoint the audience, and I don't want to oversell the knowledge base. I tend to just go for the hoarding of information first. Like I've got like town meetings like from .gov sites in Honolulu that he was at that like probably don't add up to anything, but like I want to get it all together and then start kind of speculating. I think that my overall kind of running theory right now, based on just the loose bits of information that I have, I think it probably is an intelligence op. I know that's like I know that's very brave of me to say, but I feel like it might be coming from the Ukrainian side, and it would be interesting to study and to learn. We do our own glow up fed operations on the internet, from Langley or wherever. And I remember reading an article in military.com about disseminating propaganda from the Ukrainian side. At the time, it was when the Ghost of Kiev story was circulating around. And they were saying, I believe the title of the article is something along the lines of the Ghost of Kiev story might be false, but it's lethal for war morale or something like that. Like and saying it was a good thing.
Yeah.
And I believe this was Atlantic Council and Council on Foreign Relations Digital Forensics Research Lab working in conjunction. And they were essentially saying memes are very powerful, even if they're based on false material. It bolsters morale. It makes people, happy, and they're very easy to disseminate. And the Digital Forensics Research Lab and the Atlantic Council were essentially saying the Ukrainian government and military need to get involved with creating more of this. You know, uh, it makes me wonder because they were having to recruit from outside Ukraine for bodies rapidly. It makes me wonder if this is some sort of, when like the feds will go find some like, you know, learning disabled teenager and groom them for years so that
Yeah. You want
they'll spend $50 sending Steam gift cards to ISIS. This literally happened. I'm using an actual example. A mentally disabled 16-year-old groomed him for 2 years. He sent him like $50 Steam gift cards, said it was for ISIS. And then as soon as he turned 18, slapped him with federal charges. Like it seems like it might be one of those kind of situations, just finding people who are already kind of, you know, we were kind of at a fever pitch of hysteria, right? When all of that kicked off, we were coming out of 2020, which is, I think we all lost it in 2020 a little,
yeah.
like in hindsight, more than I even kind of realized at the time. I think that like it could potentially be something like finding people who are at their wits' end, who are looking for an escape. And they're like, why don't you come to an active war zone and become
Well,
a recruiter? I don't know.
For nearly 20 years after September 11th, 2001, when we got DHS and the TSA and everything else that was already ready made and ready to ship out there.
Patriot Act.
Yeah, listen, in FBI entrapment cases of young, impressionable Muslim boys here in the United States, that justified their budgets for nearly 20 decades. I mean, 2 decades, 20 years, 2 decades. So I'm pretty sure that stuff happens a lot. We've seen plenty of things just over the last couple of years that were just from soup to nuts, were just concocted out of nowhere. The Governor Whitmer kidnapping thing was all feds from start to finish. I mean, there's
they
a
would
lot
never
going on there.
do that. How dare you?
I know, but you said something else there too that made me think about Canada during lockdowns around maybe 2020, late 2020 into 21. I saw there was something coming out of smaller towns, I think in Eastern Canada or something like that, where there was no real reason to ever have anybody locked down the way they were. But after a while, local authorities were really hesitant to let people out of their houses again because the real threat at that point was people getting together in bars, talking, and just
comparing notes,
commiserating.
Right.
That in itself they were trying to keep disinformation down. So you can see that it's almost like Operation Gladio, starting for one reason and then just existing to justify its own existence. Now,
right.
when what you do, Lauren, it's like it's crazy to me how everything seems to be a race to preserve and protect information from the feds these days. And
it's honestly a little too predictable. You can even to the point where you can almost guess which platforms are going to go first. So if you're really crunched for time, or if you're not wanting to draw attention to it because you're afraid, like which ones you can prioritize, it's always going to be Facebook first. And when on Facebook, it's designed in such a way where if they pull the plug on, say, like a Facebook page, it will simultaneously pull the Instagram, the threads. I don't even know if he had a threads. I didn't even check how much I think about threads, but that is also by design, by the way. That's one of those talking points that you'll hear repeated here and there. Karine Jean-Pierre said something about it the other day. Jen Psaki said something about it a couple of years ago. Kamala Harris has repeated this, where they say you shouldn't be banned from one platform and not others. Essentially to create a universal kill switch. This is part of the framework for the Digital Services Act, which is, oh man, I'm getting in the weeds. I'm getting so far in the weeds. But essentially, they want to be able to pull the plug across the board rapidly. So if there needs to be a cover up, if they needed to get a wrinkled, swastika flag, stuff it in the back of a U-Haul, and then crash it into a gate outside the White House to, stir up some drama on a Tuesday night. They can do that and then wipe any trace of this person before there's any sort of cache or archive available. Keeps the mystery alive.
Lots of
So,
mystery. Lots of, and
yeah.
you already went to the Ukraine. You already went to the Ukraine side of things, and
Oh, I was gonna say I've never been to Ukraine in my life.
no, no. I mean,
I don't plan on it. But
I didn't expect you to go there for, because who knows what kind of a buffer zone that has become. I mean, so many places can just be a front for, and we know Ukraine is not really a country unto itself. It's a satellite for everything else. But
right.
but the Cook's Patsy guy in Pennsylvania. Strange things about it. There was like what you have uncovered and given to the internet, and so many people have launched their own investigations based on these kind of.
That's kind of my hope. Like when I start just kind of amassing stuff, is I don't know what's gonna stick out to which, autist wherever. So I just want to make sure that it's all available as much as I can so that, anyone who maybe is a little bit late to the investigation party can just jump off wherever, patterns start kind of appearing based on, sometimes it takes a life of its own. So uh, preserving it first and foremost is the most important way to make sure that that happens. But there is plenty of people archiving. I don't want to say like I've had a lot of people have tried to like give me credit for all. It was 100% not like just me at all. Um, I just had a thread that got a crap load of traction yesterday. I'm doing this kind of stuff constantly. It's not terribly difficult, but it's I don't know. I kind of have imposter syndrome about it right now because
Well,
it's what I'm doing all the time. I'm just trying to preserve the digital paper trail for later. Because think about anytime you've tried to research something, you came up to a dead link and it was a manual archive from like 10 years ago that saved the day and saved the dig and kept it going. And I'm like, I want to be that person for people 10 years, 10 years down the road looking into stuff. You know what I mean? You got to plant those seeds now for the trees later. So
I know for me, all those links are Tumblr posts from like 2011. I saved some amazing Tumblr threads for over the year,
Tumblr.
and they're all gone. They're all gone. It's just blank pages.
What kind of posts were these?
I don't know. They were posts on like gun violence, master posts,
Yeah.
like feminism, domestic violence statistics. I had some great material there that I started, categorizing just for the show. Not like how you archive. It's a lot more widespread. You're like creating an internet within an internet. But that's just and I understand you're one of many people out there. It's just that you're one of the only ones that I follow adamantly, and we've become friends. So it's like a first line of defense.
We're friends. Yes.
We are friends.
Right.
You've spoken to my daughter on FaceTime before. So I mean, come on,
Little sweetie pie. And other Lauren. So
yes,
hey.
and other Lauren, my wife.
She's part of the Council of Laurens now, whether she likes it or not.
That's it. There's whole tribunal starting.
Right.
But you said something. You said something very big there, though. You said pattern recognition. I use that a lot on this show. Outside of how we saw with the Cooks guy, even though the pattern would differ there, where he had almost no social media imprint, and this guy had volumes of strange bot-like, almost automated-looking stuff. They both were in propaganda videos, one for BlackRock, one for war recruitment purposes, and all that stuff.
Right.
What other patterns have you seen that have been consistent from just this year's assassination attempts?
Well, I keep forgetting his last name, but for the guy from yesterday,
Ruth,
something like that. Yeah, I know the middle name is Wesley. I didn't have it right in front of me. I've just been looking at so many words over the last 2 days. It's been kind
it's
of
Ryan Wesley Routh or Ruth.
Baby Ruth. All right. So when it comes to Ruth here, at least the institutional like journalism backing, I think is incredibly noteworthy. They always, want to say that New York Times was trying to spin already that they wrote, that he was a poser and like a not fully qualified to speak on Ukraine or whatever. But actually, if you go back and look at the article that they published mentioning him, like they're really not very negative about him at all. They're negative about the other guys, but he's just kind of in there. I do think, as far as similarities go, I mean, too damn close, being suspicious, and nobody,
On the radar. I mean,
he
this
what
guy.
today it was what that he was like lurking for like 12 hours or something like that. Insane amount of time. Other guy was like, standing on like an opposite rooftop with a, rangefinder for like an hour, uh, crawling up there with a ladder and a gun, and people are like, "Hey, there's a guy with a ladder and a gun," and they're like,
I
yeah, I
know.
don't know. The press conference, the initial press conference they gave yesterday, where they were, um, well, there were shrubs, so how are we supposed to know he was in there? Was almost that was the response. Um,
I thought a lot.
you got me. Shrubs are that's the trump card, I guess. No pun
Well,
intended.
I
But
don't even know that.
now I
That's
guess.
another thing that's very strange about the whole thing is I mean, hey, it's good that there was actually somebody. There were like advanced sniper teams that were just surveying the land and saw the butt of the gun sticking out of the fence. Some part of the gun sticking out of the fence. Like, damn, that's like finding. That's harder than finding Waldo. But thank God they did, even though there was no. They said that there wasn't a shot fired. They fired 4 at him, but didn't
And missed
hit
all
him.
of them.
Didn't hit him. So just fired 4 in that direction. Did they know what they were shooting at? That sounds a little strange. So there's a lot of
That
things
was
I
one of
don't
the
know.
first questions I asked yesterday, where they said like Secret Service had fired a few shots. And I understand, at a distance of a few hundred yards, you might, miss a couple, but the whole idea is that you improve your accuracy and then you land. I don't know the situation. I don't know if they've uh released any of that extra kind of detail, but it seems odd to me. It seems like they, like Star Wars stormtroopers almost, like you'll shoot everywhere but the target.
Right.
I do think, obviously, since he wasn't posing an active threat yet, better to bring him in alive, if you can. Uh, it'll be interesting to see if he doesn't hang himself in jail or whatever.
Well, apparently there's a Trump would-be, this is from the Vigilant Fox, said Trump would-be assassin has walked into the courtroom laughing while being shackled by his hands and feet. Routh has been charged with possession of firearms by convicted felon and possession of firearm with an obliterated serial number. The judge says Routh could face up to 20 years in prison and $500,000 in fines. Fox News reports that additional federal charges are possible, but the charges presented today will keep him in jail. During the hearing, he told the judge he only makes about $3,000 a month and has no assets other than 2 trucks in Hawaii. So the sheriff stated that when Routh was arrested, his demeanor was perplexing. Officers had stopped the vehicle at gunpoint, ordered him out, and despite the seriousness of the situation, his demeanor was perplexing in some way. Numerous people out with rifles, uniformed personnel, helicopter, and he was, I don't know, like jovial. Strange. It is a strange thing, but again, here's what I want to know: is this the type of guy that a serious assassination plot would tap as anything other than a patsy or something like for example, was this a show? Was it just a crazy guy that got through? Are they really trying to kill him but keep fucking up? Like because this guy seems like I wouldn't give a homeless guy this kind of an assignment.
Well, from what I've seen, how he speaks in his videos over the last few years in particular, again, there's like a very marked physical decline. He goes from looking just kind of like he was born in, I believe, 68. So he's not, I think he's 56 right now. My math might be a little bit off. Don't judge me. But he's not terribly old. But over the last 10 years, he went from looking like just kind of like an, relatively like fit 40-something-year-old guy to like looking gaunt. And honestly, I mean, I don't know, but he has features that to me make me think addict almost immediately. Granted, it could be a number of things, or just poor mental health, therefore, not really taking care of himself. I don't know. It's a weird situation. And again, I wish I had some deeper insight. I do have some very, very interesting threads I've been pulling on, but I'm not really ready to talk about them yet because these are it involves people who might be involved with him. And once they're if any of them catch wind and start deleting their social media before I can get it all, then it's over. So,
Okay. Well, yeah, you do what you
know
got
what
to
I
do.
mean?
Absolutely. Well, speaking of LinkedIn before, here's a little something that Zero Hedge pulled when they were putting together this is with a would-be Trump assassin palled around with neo-Nazi Azov Brigade, Ukraine, and this was pulled from his LinkedIn.
Yeah.
He took the good versus evil Russia Ukraine stance and really simped hard on all of that stuff. And but very active though. I mean, world traveler. So if he was just making $3,000 a month and had nothing but 2 cars in Hawaii, then he at some point recently he had to have been sponsored. No.
Well, so he had a GoFundMe it was deleted this morning, but I archived it all yesterday, and a lot of other people did too, of course. He had a GoFundMe that had raised a few $1,000s. Also, he has a fiance who seems to live in Hawaii, but she was I mean, not like a C-suite managerial role, but was some sort of regional store manager for Victoria's Secret for many years that like works for big kind of, I guess, like brand stores and region like a regional distributor kind of way. So she seems to be relatively successful in her own job. And all of the posts on her social media for the last several years have been all about him. She was the one who was maintaining and updating frequently the GoFundMe. So I think that she probably helped facilitate a lot of the donations that he did receive. And I don't know, I have no idea, but probably also helped fund quite a bit on her dime as well.
Okay.
So he's from North Carolina originally and moved out to Hawaii, which is with her. I believe she was there first. I'm still kind of laying out some of that timeline. But I've been looking a little bit closer at his fiance. Her name is Kimberly Schaefer, I believe. And she was again like running the social media post. She was the one who was posting like videos to the GoFundMe of him like working on like homebrew drones in a garage in Ukraine. It's like again, I appreciate that she shared it all and posted about it on her Facebook and all, and also didn't have the foresight to delete anything for at least a day. But, I imagine probably quite a bit was coming from that. The GoFundMe had raised around like $5,000, I think.
Well,
Which,
let me ask you this a very general question because I know that you have a lot. You're pulling on some strings right now. Your archiving is not done, and I know for posterity purposes, it's important to have these these things just there in case 10 years from now there was something about this particular case that rings a bell that you want to go back and maybe plug some things in, rearrange the pieces different. I understand that, but is there ever a cutoff that you give yourself or, okay, I've done enough because you know that another something is coming, the Crooks thing, that assassination attempt that almost claimed the life of the president and killed others, maimed others, that is already gone the way of Las Vegas. You can call that Crooks kid Stephen Paddock Jr. If you'd like it, because that's exactly what we're going to get out of that going forward. So, at what point do you say, okay, I've got enough, and I can't get holed up too much on this because it's really just one more, hop along?
that's a great question. With Crooks, again, he didn't really have much of a digital footprint, and basically anything he did have was found relatively quickly, spread around, and that was basically it. As far as it goes with Ryan Routh, he's an oversharer on the internet. So probably there's kind of I don't know, it's hard to describe, but there's always kind of like a realization that I'm turning over stones and the dirt underneath is nothing. It's just more dirt rather than like, oh, like a little, I don't know. What would you be excited to find in dirt? Like a quarter, I guess. I don't know.
So a Mercury
You
head
know,
dime.
yes, exactly. There's no more mercury head dimes or arrowheads or whatever. It's just more dirt. And there's kind of a feeling, kind of like noticing patterns. Like if you really start to kind of get in tune with it, like your brain notices it before you're like your mind does, if that makes any sense. Like you start kind of like your spidey senses are going off, and then you're like, oh. Um, I haven't really had a whole lot of that with him so far, though, aside from the, Sue Me Terry. Anytime anything links back to Max Boot at all, I hate Max Boot. I have like a very personal, like I hate that man so much. So to me, I'm like, ooh, but that's pretty niche. So I hate that man so much.
Listen,
Um,
there's real venom here, huh?
Oh, well, so he was involved with the Transition Integrity Project in 2020. He was the one who gamed out like the 4 different scenarios. He was the one who used the Jeffrey Toobin, the infamous call from Jeffrey Toobin. That was with the Transition Integrity Project, and they used his involvement in that embarrassing story to obfuscate the reality of that story for the rest of the summer. Anytime any of it got brought up, anyone would bring up Toobin, and then it would just devolve into dick jokes, which, in my mind is a pretty smart tactic. I'll never be able to prove that, but I think that was the play.
That is interesting, though. Never thought of it that way.
And Max. Anyways, we could talk about that at a different time, but yeah. So all roads lead back to the Transition Integrity Project, and then Max Boot.
Yeah, well, I mean, we're gonna have a lot of. There's a lot of that still left over from 2020 going into this, and that's the whole thing. We're coming up now on the second half of September. And time is just ticking away, and
like 50 days, right?
I know, it's really nuts. So, what do you do? Obviously, when something like this happens to you, where a thread, something that you're working on, pops off, and everybody's tapping into it, and you're in high demand, what do you see the next couple of days like, and what's coming up next? What's your broadcast schedule like these days too? So I can so everybody can go and check you out.
It's the same. It's always been Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday night. Starts at 9 o'clock Central ish, ish, like 5 minutes late every now and then. But so I stream on those nights. As far as it goes, I would be lying to you if I told you that I hadn't, like, I mean, the amount of people at least following me on Twitter has like grown by like nearly a third, which is a really insane thing to have happen in the span, like a really short span of time. I really, really try very hard to not change based on those kind of trends. Back in 2020, when I gained a platform out of nowhere and it started blowing. I got really obsessed with metrics and like it made me a worse person just kind of in general. And I think it made the like content that I was making and the work I was trying to do worse. So I mean, I would be lying to you if I told you I haven't noticed, because it's like it's actually nuts. But I don't really foresee changing too much about what I would typically be doing, because that's what got people hanging out in the first place.
Good job.
You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
So I don't. As far as topics go, over the last few streams, we've been talking about like 2019 era Kamala. I've been planning on going through the latest AP style book to look at the kind of universal guidelines for journalism. How they change language over time. But I'm going to play it by ear, I guess, going into tomorrow, because Lord knows the news cycle right now is, I feel like it's a barrage constantly, but it feels overwhelming by design right now. So,
well, here's the one thing, the one thing that you can rest assured, because I hate to say it, because assassination attempts usually help the person that was targeted for death. Because that person is Donald Trump, this is going to be moved as quickly as possible out. and getting on back to business. I don't know how they're going to do. They're going to claim that Kamala Harris cured cancer tomorrow or something like that.
I don't know. They can't help themselves though. The first one, initially there was the obligatory, you know, political violence has no place, blah blah blah. And then it was, well, did he even get shot? Was that even a real bullet? Like the questions came later. But yesterday, even like the initial response was it was an separate but close by incident, but it wasn't related to Trump or Mar-a-Lago. And then it was like, oh wait, no, it actually was. And then the immediate like universal talking point from like, the soulless ghouls, like people like what's her face, Venman's bitch, is, well, you brought this on yourself, right? You brought this on yourself with your rhetoric, not mine, but yours. And so I don't know if this one's going to go away as quickly, but I don't think it's not going well. Because that's not a winning argument. I don't care if you are like a tried and true through and through Democrat. The things that people are saying right now are so unignorably putrid and just evil. I don't think it's going to go away as quickly, and I don't think their PR is really, really bad on this one.
Do you find anything salvageable about us on a social level? I understand that social media, the shit rises to the top quick. I understand it's a very myopic. It's a small sample, even if hundreds of millions of people do use any one platform over another. But based on what you're just saying there, how there's less and less reason to really hide the more murderous thoughts that people are having these days, that they're willing to express openly. What do you think that says about us going forward as far as social cohesion? You think there's any way that we'll be able to build on that and make something better?
Well, I will say, and this might be you might disagree with me. Some of y'all might disagree with me on this, and that's fine. You're welcome to have whatever opinion you want to have. But a lot of people were pushing back after the first assassination attempt when people who posted horrible shit online, people like libs of TikTok and just were like contacting their employer, contacting their place of work, contacting their friends and family and being like, hey, are you aware of this person? And some people got fired or put on leave or suspended. And then, of course, the self-defeating right-wingers came out of the woodwork to be like, I don't think people should be, I don't, cancel culture has gone far enough, people actively cheering for this to continue happening, they should be able to just do that with, no social pushback whatsoever. I think they're flat out fucking wrong, pardon my French, but flat out wrong. And this goes to show, again, we all have thoughts. I have plenty of thoughts that if I vocalize them, I would likely go to prison at some point.
Same here, Lauren.
You keep them inside, you're allowed to, for now, there's like a whole thing about scanning brainwaves and yeah, but that's a different conversation for a different time. For now, your thoughts and your brainwave patterns are your own and nobody else knows what's in there. You keep those bedposts up in there and you can think them. I have a specific phrase that bounces around in my head sometimes that like, oh yeah, it would probably get me arrested. But you keep those inside. It needs to be socially unacceptable to actively cheer for and to antagonize more mentally ill, because look around you. The average American is a mentally unstable, mentally ill mess. And the call's coming from inside the house in a lot of ways. You know what I mean? So why are we allowing people to continue exacerbating in a very volatile environment and then claiming it's cancel culture? No, it's literally self-preservation. A leftist in Michigan ran over an 80-year-old Trump supporter for putting Trump signs in his front yard, ran him over, and then went out in the woods and shot himself in the head, killed himself. Like, people have been hurt because this has been normalized. If you surround yourself with people who just are filled with this hatred, this vitriol, and nobody's telling you, hey, step back from the ledge just a little bit, all right? It's all right. Think whatever you want to, like, but people are gonna act on this.
Yeah.
There's gotta be some, it's kind of like things like no bullying, no slut shaming, whatever. It's like, no, social pushback on things that are outside of societal norms is like, is it illegal to be a slut? No, but it's probably not like a good thing. Like feeling shame and guilt for, promiscuous behaviors, it's like it's
It's
preserves
probably
preserves your health, your like mental well-being, yada
yeah.
yada yada. Like,
it's
so
a tool. Shame
yeah.
is shame is a good tool to lean on every once in a while.
Fat shaming literally saved my life. I used to be like over 250 pounds, and I used to read like fat people hate on Reddit. They banned that place, but like I would read posts on there, and that was like what gave me the kick in the ass to lose the weight. Like that kind of stuff works. To be honest, I don't know if that's a healthy way to go about it, but it was the way that worked for me.
Well,
So
I
people need to be pushed back from the ledge, and like I'm not saying put them in prison for saying it, but like if they need to like be like taking a forced sabbatical from work for like a week or two or whatever, or like attend anger management with their
listen,
HR ladies, then go.
This is what I'm thinking here, and this is how we can wrap up today, because I
Sorry, I'll ramble forever.
No, this is great. You brought us to a really awesome point. What you're talking about is a situation that is purely created out of the censorship that we have going on. It's not necessarily that people have bad things that come up inside, and if it comes out of them, okay, it's your reputation. You're going to look one way or another. You have a bad idea, fine, let it out. The other person should be able to meet you there, though, and work this thing out without one side, one opinion being protected and rationalized and all that stuff and promoted, and the other side being given a handicap and demeaned and being put in this evil person category that always is at a disadvantage in the conversation.
Right.
That's a situation that we're in here right now. I'm okay with people having bad opinions about anything, or even me personally. It's fine. But
I have them all the time.
Right.
Yeah.
But this also goes back down to where we are right now and why everybody's internet sleuthing and their interest in these things
Love to see it.
It's impressive, because like I said before I brought you on the show, right before I brought you on, I said that the sad part about all of this is that I think that by and large, we know that we have no prosecutorial power, but I think so many people are resigned to that strong possibility that we're never going to see real law and order deliver that real satisfying verdict and put people away that need to go away and really start, creating a deterrent for the worst offenders of the law in our country and the world. But that at least it's better for us to know what's going on, even if most of it is speculation. To know and not get justice is better than to not get justice and also be kept completely in the dark. So the fact that there
are paths forward for that go completely outside of an elected body, by the way. It would take a lot of like coalition building and like awareness raising, but there are pathways for that.
But this is the starting point, though.
Completely circumvent them, yeah. But no, getting people talking about it. I've talked about this on my own show a bit, but I always kind of go back to the observer's paradox. By observing a previously kind of unknown or really just observed group of people, phenomenon, a mechanism in the government, whatever have you, they will forever change their trajectory and their behavior, even if it's just a little bit, because it's the like the panopticon, but like the good version, where they don't know which citizen is watching where, and they can no longer control, at least in certain corners of the internet, the flow of information. So if the right person sees it, even if they don't have a platform, they can still get eyes on it enough where it's over. And they're terrified of that. But that, the New World Order isn't some like lofty secret society. It's literally us taking back what was always rightfully ours in the first place, which is, again, to control the public conversation, how we see fit, and to exist outside of their control. That's the new way forward for all of us. And like it's a struggle session right now because they don't want to relinquish that control, but it's happening. Like there is no way in hell people who've taken that step are going back, and more people are changing tune every single day. Like it's unstoppable, truly.
Well,
so.
I'm not going to add anything to that. That was great. And everybody, you can find Lauren. Many of you already know, but her Twitter tag is in the description of this episode. She's also tagged in the Twitter end of this stream that you can find right now on my account. And I can't wait to have her back. So thank you for everything tonight,
Anytime.
Lauren. Great.
Oh, yeah. I've always loved talking to you. So thanks for having me on. Thanks for putting up with my rambles.
Well, hey, I'm looking forward to the next time because things are about to get dicey. I can't wait.
About to be. It's go time. So.
That's it. Have a good night.
All right, bye, y'all.
See you later. There you go. That was Lauren, SBIK. I understand she made the screen name, but I still feel a little funny constantly calling her just some bitch I know. Anyhow, let's take a really quick break. When we come back, your calls, and I want to jump into some of the crazy ass media and ask that question about social cohesion and things around you. There was something else that Owen Benjamin had said recently, this morning, I think, or late last night, that had gone hand in hand with another question or another theme I wanted to bring onto the show about neighbors, about the relationships you have with neighbors. I got to think about that a little bit over the weekend because I had some really good times with some of my neighbors. And I wonder how well you guys and gals know your neighbors as well. Or do you find that, outside of these very, very, intimate circumstances, that a lot of people are becoming quieter, more distant, not necessarily just because of social media distractions. Everybody just got their nose buried in their phones, which is definitely something that's going on. But there's something else there too. I don't know if we'll have time for that tonight, but anyway, it's a quick break. And when we get back, I want to take your calls and read your super chats. Quite frankly, superchat.com, especially for those of you who are still watching on YouTube/Google. There are no super chats there, not for 4 long years now. So if you want me to shout you out or read your thought on air, or you want to tell everybody a joke, you can go to quitefranklysuperchat.com. Everybody can. I'll be right back.
On a plot against the emperor failed. Plotters were always given a chance to let the families keep their fortunes.
Yeah, but only the rich guys, Tom. The little guys, they got knocked off, and all their estates went to the emperors. Unless they went home and they killed themselves, then nothing happened. And their families were taken care of, Tom.
That was a good break. Nice deal.
Yeah. They went home and sat in a hot bath, opened up their veins, and bled to death. And sometimes they had a little party before they did it.
It's intermission time, folks. Time out to press the like button. Thank you.
Quite frankly.
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 Quite frankly, guys.
Quite frankly.
Quite frankly.
Quite frankly.
So everybody watch, Quite Frankly, with Frank.
Scat. Scat Adams. On Friday, right before we went live, actually, I didn't see it. He said this: I'm revising my debate scoring. My first impression was a tie, which I called a Harris victory. But the only thing I recall about the debate today is that they're eating the dogs. It's visual, it's scary, it's viral, memorable, repeatable, and directionally correct in terms of unchecked immigration risk. It's a strong play of the election. Trump won the debate. I got to stop underestimating his game. Trump had no base hits in the debate, but his long ball is still rising. Incredible. It is true. It is true, man. And like I said before, the details to me of this, of what happened yesterday, really don't matter that much. I mean, mainstream media didn't hesitate this time around. They were a little hesitant in July. There was about a 24 to 36 hour grace period where some people, you know, they didn't want to look like fools. So they'll say the cookie cutter denouncements about we don't want political violence. It's no. We hate these people. We think that they're lower than human. It's them. It's us versus them. And we represent two completely different civilizations, but we want to do this the right way. You want to do what the right way? Subjugate the other person the right way? I can't stand it. Can't stand it anymore. Okay? Yeah, I don't like you either. But the issue here is that you're led. Your policies are led by mental illness. Your visceral reactions is mentally ill. We have the statistics that show how Marxists are mentally ill. They're on all types of medications. And when something like this happens, when something that's predictable enough like this happens, it's always, I want everybody safe. I want everybody to be safe, even the people I hate and think are not even human. Yes, gotcha. Even the existential threats to democracy, I want to remain safe and sound. But there was no hesitation this time around. None whatsoever. They were saying that he needed to tone down the rhetoric. Rhetoric being, of course, words. What we were just talking about with Lauren. Who was it? It was who the hell was it? Let me see. Is this it? Leftist media blames Trump for second failed assassination attempt. Let's go to Lester Holt. Listen to this guy, who is becoming more and more out of his mind as his hairline recedes into the back of his head. I guess he's eventually going to be full horseshoe. But right now he's actually one of those idiots that maintains that wherever the hairline is, even if it's right over his head, they like right over the button. This is where they go. I shaved the whole damn thing. I can comment on bald people's heads. I have every right in the world. Okay? Every right in the world to comment on bald people's heads. Lester Holt is one of the worst bald people I've ever seen in my life. One of the worst. Okay? Ben Franklin looked better. Anyway, let's see. Turn this off. Take a listen to what he said immediately in his nightly news piece.
His apparent assassination attempt comes amid increasingly fierce rhetoric on the campaign trail itself. Mr. Trump, his running mate J.D. Vance continue to make baseless claims about Haitian immigrants in Ohio.
I mean, that was like within the first 3 seconds.
Today's apparent assassination attempt comes amid increasingly fierce rhetoric on the campaign trail itself. Mr. Trump, his running mate J.D. Vance continue to make baseless claims about Haitian immigrants in Ohio.
Yeah, right. Yeah, fierce rhetoric is even worse than rhetoric, regular rhetoric, because according to Lester Holt, of course, because in this case, Trump's words were ferocious. That's what fierce means. It's ferocious. Ferocious truth of the matter, which of course is that local living in states of every shade of blue and red. It's not just if you're blue, you're living with what you voted for. Nope, it's happening in red states too. Told you guys, these things don't stay in blue states. Okay? These problems just don't stay in blue states. Eventually, the well runs dry. They got to go look for something else. The crumbs off of somebody else's table. It's starting to feel very, very, people are starting to feel very strange and immediate localized impacts. It's not just about, hey, we're getting a little cramped over here. We're running a little bit low on space. It's not even just about, hey, we are noticing that resources that used to be going to impoverished or disadvantaged people locally who are American citizens are being redistributed to newly imported arrivals who have no connection to the United States other than they are the beneficiaries of some new temporary permanent temporary program for resettling just poor people from all over the place to the United States, as if that is just going to be the difference maker. And it's not going to bring everything that made that place poor and backwards to the new place, the United States. People are realizing it's not just about space. It's not just about resources running low. It's about cultural clashes that are startling for us. All right? And I'm not talking about the New Mexican family that moved in, the third, fourth generation Mexican American family that moved in next door and they cook with a lot of spice. No, I'm talking about real cultural clashes, things that you're seeing in Europe, things that we're seeing over here. I love Peking duck. And you know what? Having a Christmas goose is still a tradition for many families around the world. Still a tradition, okay? In fact, that is what Ebenezer Scrooge brought to the Cratchit house. The biggest prize Christmas goose that was it. That's it. On Christmas morning when he had his turnaround, he brought a goose to the Cratchits, all right? It's not about having a Christmas goose. It's not about having Peking duck, okay? It's not about traditional. It's not traditional to see animals plucked off the street, partially butchered in public right there. All right? We are also a society that forms relationships with domesticated animals. We domesticate many animals that are considered a desperate form of sustenance in other countries. But as you can see, priority housing, driver's licenses, EBT cards, they don't always curb long-standing cultural impulses, ingrained culture, and that's happening. There is plenty of testimony out there. You can deny it, you can ignore it if you'd like. You can say it's anomalous, it's an outlier. Bullshit. Whatever you got to do to get through, whatever you got to do to get yourself some sleep, but it's just too fierce. It's too fierce to point this out and show a modicum of concern, you know. Just like according to the DOJ, observing how inflation is only getting worse is disinformation. That's it. And not only that, it's disinformation born from Moscow. And if someone continues to entertain these extreme positions, well then, wouldn't attempted murder be unsurprising? I guess that's what they're trying to say. I guess that's what they're trying to say. If you continue to say these things, to say that the economy is getting worse for you, even though, you know, whatever, you continue to say that, if you continue to make any comments about how illegal immigration and migrant resettlement is really coming down hard on you and your community, anything else, I guess that's worthy of attempted murder. Is that what he's saying? Is that what Lester Holt is saying? It's crazy, man. The casual nature of the association is the most disturbing part about it all. You know, here, listen to this one. Where the hell is this one? I know I had this lined up too. I don't know who this woman is on MSNBC. It's just one witch talking to another witch. She suggests that the Trump campaign, she asks if the Trump campaign had considered dialing it down yet. It's on MSNBC. Listen to this.
Yeah. Do you expect there to be calls from within the Trump campaign to do that? Because he's going to reach out to his supporters and say, let's take this down. We do not know, again, the source of any gunshot or gunshots. We don't know who's responsible for this. The whole thing has yet to be 100% confirmed from start to finish how this all played out. But do you expect to hear anything from the Trump campaign about toning down the rhetoric, toning down the violence, or would that be atypical of the former president?
Oh my God. So you see this? She actually asked if he would tone down the violence. Like he shows up to your town for a rally and outside he's punching people. He goes, he nut punches everybody as they're waiting to get into the arena. Or he has his staff members out there kneeing people in the balls, slapping women across the face. What the hell is he talking about? Brings in a busload of migrants every night to allow his people to beat up on. Here, I got you some fresh migrants. Beat them up. Tone down the violence. Which is, of course, an ironic thing to ask because it's a rhetorical question. You know, we're talking about rhetoric. It's a rhetorical question. You know, is he ready to tone down the violence, or is that atypical of Trump? Meaning, he's not ready to tone down the violence, is he? Because he loves it. It's part of who he is. It's the lifeblood of his campaign. Violence. She's not even talking about speech at that point. She's saying violence. Violence. Because the implied answer, of course, is this is not possible. No, which, number one, it's not possible because Trump is by nature a violent person. The person who is being targeted for death because of words. It's just, just makes a lot of sense. And then the bomb threats. They're getting bomb threats in Springfield. I heard that the Governor DeWine came out and said that the 30 to 33, the magic number 33, bomb threats in Springfield were all hoaxes, and most of the calls came from outside of the country. So it's probably Democrats in like Belarus calling. It's probably Lester Holt's interns. It's probably Lester Holt's interns in Belarus calling up the United States and saying, I'm going to get all the Haitians. And if this was because of, so what was this guy down in Florida, just some white savior that was just so pissed off at all of the criticism of newly arrived Haitian migrants? I can imagine if it was a Haitian that tried to take a shot at Trump, that there would be a little bit, but well, like, how do you even draw the connection there aside from your will? But you see, that's the thing about Bolsheviks, ladies and gentlemen. This is the thing about Bolsheviks, what they say every day, which has become a part of accepted culture. The lies about so-called gender-affirming care that mutilates and sterilizes children. That's rhetoric that leads to violence. That's actually a violent change to the body. Okay? You can't tell me that it is not violence. The natural state of being for a man or a woman born as a man or a woman is to be a man or a woman, despite what's going on between the ears. Okay? To make some kind of alteration to your body, to stuff a piece in, to rip a piece off, to transplant a piece just because of some kind of a dysphoric condition. Come on, that's a violent change. And this is what psychologists and psychiatrists all over the country, pediatricians all over the country are engaging in that kind of rhetoric. That leads to violence, if you ask me. At least that's the way I understand it. Nonstop trash talking of white people, talks of reparations owed, slandering private property owners as some kind of neo-colonial enemy. That leads to plenty of violence, ongoing violence, getting worse and worse. Rhetoric against reasonable policing is another thing that's led to crime waves with absolute immunity, or I should say impunity. I don't know, but we talk about modest tax cuts and closing the border, and out come the AKs, and we got to tone down the rhetoric. Out come the AKs when we're on the golf course. Tone down the rhetoric. Talk about closing the border and maybe a tax cut, maybe making inflation deflate a little bit. No. Got to really watch yourself there. You're playing with fire, Sonny. What else do I have over here? You know what? I was thinking about this scene. In Casino Royale, I said it before, who is our Le Chiffre? In Casino Royale, when Bond is sitting down, he's at the high stakes poker game in Montenegro, and they're dealing, and Le Chiffre feels like, the CIA guy gave Bond an extra buy-in. So he can go on in there, taking his extra $10 million, whatever, and he's really starting to take it to Le Chiffre on the poker table. And Lashif says, okay, well, we have to poison this Bond character. So this is Bond. I mean, everything about this scene is awesome. Can't watch it. It's like 10 minutes long. But I wanted to just sit down. I want to show you the part that I love the most. It caps off the whole thing. It's the cherry on top by Bond's return to the table. So he gets poisoned by Lashif. Lashif just staring at him, knowing that poison is taking effect. Bond realizing that he's got poison. He's got to get out of there quick. He's, it's a race against the clock. Detoxing, going to the car, shooting himself up. It's awesome. I love Casino Royale. It's really a fun movie. In fact, when we do a film night, I think we should do Casino Royale. But it's capped off by this awesome return to the poker table, where Lashif thought he would never see Bond again because he's been poisoned, he's dead. But here he comes, sitting down, and I feel like this is probably what a lot of people at the RNC felt the morning after the first assassination attempt or 2 days after the first assassination attempt in July.
I'm sorry. That last hand nearly killed me.
Gentlemen?
I love that. That last hand nearly killed me. It's probably one of the best lines in the entire franchise. And I'm not even a big James Bond fan outside of whatever Daniel Craig did. I like those movies a lot. It's the first time I ever became interested in James Bond. Had no interest. Pierce Brosnan did a pretty good job in the 90s when we were all growing up. Of course, it was paired up with all those legendary video game releases for N64, but there's a lot more. There's a lot more. Okay, the lines are open. 914-200-0269. Give me a buzz. It's 8:27. I have other things we can do, other things we can read through. But the question here is, do you expect any kind of reason from anyone? Have you seen unexpected levels of reason? The so-called the people in your life who are become very comfortable with saying that someone like Donald Trump is reaping what they sow. Is our current social situation salvageable in any way? That would be interesting to hear. What I'm going to do right now, though, is power down the Zoom, start it back up, because obviously we are backlogged again, and I'm going to take a really quick break. Give me a call over the course of the break, and I'll bring you right on. 914-200-0269.
Trump Tower, baby. Look at how fucking elegant it is. It's way nicer than the White House. Trump should be there. Should be with us. I'll keep him safe.
I'm 60 fucking years old. I'm glad to be alive. All my buddies are dead, but hey, I'm alive, so it's good to be alive.
You got a wife, man?
Yes, I do have a wife. We got divorced because, after 9/11.
What did 9/11 have to do with the divorce?
Nothing. Anyway, they're pulling, another scammer. Come on, don't you feel it? We could live forever, dude. We have CRISPR. We've done the DNA, and there's people in Berkeley and also shit expanding life. But I don't want to talk about that. But I don't. Hey, let's just have a good time. Fuck yeah.
Welcome to Perpetual Health Minute, brought to you by Quite Frankly, Bread and Other Edible Agents of Mental Disease. It's a catchy title, right? Let me read to you from this paper. Cereal grains, the world's most abundant food source, can affect human behavior and mental health. In all of us, bread makes the gut more permeable and can thus encourage the migration of food particles to sites where they are not expected, prompting the immune system to attack both these particles and brain-relevant substances that resemble them. A grain-free diet could improve the mental health of many and be a complete cure for others. Now, you know how I feel about bread. It doesn't provide any unique nutrients, and for many, it crowds out other more nutrient-dense foods. So, if you're experiencing mental or physical ill health, try a grain-free diet. You might just be surprised at the improvements you'll see. If you like this video, please follow the new Perpetual Health Rumble channel. You can also find us at perpetualhealth.substack.com. But for now, thank you so much for watching. Back to the show.
Really hate doing that, but yeah, I didn't want to introduce another huge topic with only a half hour to wiggle around with. I'd rather do something else. But this is big news from over the weekend, and it really makes you think about where the hell else, where other things are going, how we're going to be getting around, how we're navigating the waters, how people around us are seeing all this. And I got to say, I know that there's a lot of things in this person's the background of this person that has been the focal point of the latest attempt, which obviously is not nearly as close call as the other. If Trump wasn't even in line of sight, all great things. But you can just see that there is a persistent scratching and clawing to make something happen. I don't know. There's just something very frazzled and weird about this guy. It does seem like there may be a handler somewhere along the lines. We'll see where that Sue woman comes from, where she all ends up. But this is an interesting turn of events. And these things usually come in threes. And it's only September. What is he going to do? I don't know. I'll tell you one thing, though. If these are attempts that are being made with honest intent to take out Donald Trump and they just keep screwing up, eventually the whole precision angle is going to go out the window. They might just take down a whole building to make sure that Trump and a whole bunch of other people are in there at one time. You know, it seems like they're trying to be precise here and not really working. Okay, the second restart worked for me. I have a couple of calls coming in already. Let's see. 760, you're on the air. Go ahead. 760, you there?
Hello.
Hey, who's this?
Hi, my name's Noah.
Noah, welcome to the show.
Hey, how's it going? Well, my moniker is Untitled82, and I just want to point out that, okay, so the Trump, like when he was on the golf course, when he was going to go play golf, it was a last-minute thing. How did this guy know to stake out for like 12 hours and know that Trump was going to be there the next day? That's it.
I saw the guy. I forgot who the hell he was. He was a former assistant director of the FBI. I forget his name, but he was on with Maria Bartiromo, and he was making the same point. And it is a good point. If that's really all there is to the story, that this is something where the golf, his personal schedule is not published, and this is something that popped up last minute. Then there has to be someone who has to be a back channel tip line.
Person, yeah, he got fed information of Trump's location, So that, I don't know. It's just, I'm just putting it out there. No big deal, man. Thank you for taking my call.
Oh, no problem. Thank you, Noah. And yeah, no big deal. No big deal. It's just another. It's the straw. Eventually, it's going to be the straw that broke the camel's back. Just another piece of straw. So, but the response is nuts. Hey, there was this one thing. This guy, Jeremy Kaufman, he had a 2.5 minute exchange with a couple of FBI agents that went to his house, I guess responding to some kind of a post or whatever. And I thought that this was really incredible. I'll leave the lines open just in case we take some calls, but take a listen to this. He posted it. FBI visited my house today for free speech acts they knew were not crimes. You can see the shame on their faces. I rather enjoyed this. Take a look. Hey,
how can I help you?
Hey there, hey Jeremy?
Yeah.
How are you?
Who are you?
I'm Agent O'Donnell with the FBI.
Can you give your full name, please?
I'm Agent O'Donnell with the FBI.
Is that sufficient to identify as the only one O'Donnell affiliated with the FBI?
In New Hampshire, yes.
Yes, this is the only Agent O'Donnell. In New Hampshire?
Could you please state your full name, sir?
Could you please stop recording?
No. It's First Amendment right.
Okay.
What's your name, sir?
Could you stop recording, please?
Absolutely not. You can show me your name and identification, or I'm going to...
He looks like a Krasenstein brother, this guy. What would his name be? His name Twizzle. I'm Twizzle Krasenstein, actually. I'm the third brother. They call me Twizzle.
I'll go back inside my house.
Okay.
I don't really want to broadcast my.
Oh, this is going out right after you guys walk away.
So that's why I'm not going
So you can show me your name ID. You can walk away.
We just want to talk to
I'm not going to talk to people who claim to be federal agents unless they can show me identification.
Okay, well, you see our badges.
I need to see. Is your full name on that badge?
No.
I'd like to see something with your full name, or I'm not going to talk to you.
I prefer you not to broadcast it.
This will be going online as soon as you walk away.
Well, all I want to do is talk to you about a post that was made, and if you happen to be the one that made the
I want to talk to you about you guys coming here. Say you make a salary of, I don't know what, low 100K? You guys making six figures? Factor in 50% expenses, overhead, maybe 100% expense.
I'm hoping to get my first promotion soon. I'm only making $87,000 right now, actually. My brothers didn't cut me in on the family business.
Talking about burning a couple $100 an hour just here, let alone all the time you guys are spending to investigate something that you know is not against the law, right? Like you're familiar with. So then why would you come?
Because we wanted to make sure that there weren't any.
No, you're coming because you're part of a regime that does this kind of thing when you know laws aren't being broken, and that's an embarrassment, man.
It is embarrassing. These two guys should be really embarrassed. No, they're probably good police officers. They're making money. They're putting food on their table for their family. Yeah, well, they should find another line of work then. They should become local police officers then and actually stop a crime, find somebody for shoplifting. I don't know what the hell they're doing. But the fact that they have been dispatched to talk to somebody who posted an opinion that, of course, is not criminal, but they just want to talk to him to assess his mental makeup here. That's what it is. Want to see if there's any other threats. A threat? A legal threat? Was it a legal threat that was made? Like it's just really crazy. Crazy how they spend their time.
Didn't you guys read the Constitution? Do you not believe in America? Like, how do you do your jobs and go home?
We appreciate it.
You're walking away. Because nothing we did is against the law, and you guys are fuckheads that try to act like bullies. And I hope you go home and are embarrassed. You can't even say your name on camera because you know that what you're doing is embarrassing. You know Americans that believe in the Constitution think you're laughable. And you go home and you think about what you did today. Go home and think about it, you cowards.
That's a go think about what you did today. Wow. One way to get all mommy on them. That's great.
Drive away. Drive away.
Thank you for your time, sir.
You're not welcome. You should be embarrassed. Embarrassing. You guys are embarrassing.
Oh, they're in New Hampshire. My gosh. FBI. That used to be, I mean, hey, listen, if they come knocking on your door, or if they come busting down your door at 5:30 in the morning, sure, it's not going to be a laughing matter. Sure, everybody's going to be, very scared, and anything can happen. But how pathetic. How pathetic. What, how they've just fallen. How they've fallen to this level. It's just incredible. But that's that. So, a little bit of what's been on the news. And, the other thing there, too, is we're still trying to see. Last week when we left off, it was dangling in the balance. It was hanging in the balance. What was going to happen with Ukraine and the approvals to go and strike deeper into Russia with Western-provided weapons. And, of course, that cannot do anything without Western-provided intelligence and coordinates. Still nothing on there. I was thinking, this will be one hell of a way to distract away from that. Anyway, let's go to our Super Chats. And remember, starting this week, all the Super Chats on quite frankly superchat.com enter you into the raffle to win my copy of The Neverending Story. Jay Britz is the first one. If we had the raffle tomorrow, Jay Britz would win. He'd be the only Super Chatter. Thank you, Jay. Off with a bang with Some Bitch I Know. I love Lauren's work. Thanks, Frank. Well, thank you, Jay. I love Lauren's work as well. It's great to have her on. Let's see. We have a couple of Super Chats over here, Rumble Rants. Is this the real life? Happy birthday to Sweet Aurora. Thank you for sharing your daddy with us. God bless you always. Well, thank you for that. That's very sweet of you. 925 Wild G says, some bitch gets the mention on the rant tonight. There you go. Lauren in the rants. Jay Semo, the new way forward. She's great. Great start to the week. And Steve Ellis says, Frank, why did Trump post that he hates Taylor Swift? I have not heard any theories. I don't know either. Because like I said, I was a little bit out of it this weekend. I got into the Gilded chat last night. I started to, put together some thoughts, what I wanted to do to set up today's day of work. And in the Gilded chat, people are talking about it. And I had seen a screenshot of I hate Taylor Swift maybe sometime on Sunday. Tweeted out, I don't know where the hell I saw it. And I had a chuckle to myself. Because I have tons of fake Trump tweets that I've saved because they're just funny. Like my favorite, I have it on my phone, is a fake Trump tweet from @RealDonaldTrump. Says, thank you, retard. Very gay. It's a funny thing to leave in the comments of anything. It's a funny little comment image. So I thought it was just somebody messing around. And then I quickly realized in the Gilded last night that this was serious. I said, wait a second. Trump, really? It was just as plain as that? I hate Taylor Swift. I went to the Truth Social. I took a look at it. There it is. So I said, okay. But I have no theories. And I would love to know what you guys think or what has been uncovered. And I've been opposed to things like that in the past. Like when he kept on hammering on what's her name? Stormy Daniels over and over. Horse face this, horse face that. I was like, okay, listen. You're winning already. You won this. She's got to pay you $300,000, whatever. But this, I'm okay with it. I think I've almost completed letting go. I don't know if I jump back on again, tighten my grip. I'm trying to let go. Anyway, so that's where I'm at. Okay, wonderful Rumble rants over on quitefrankly.tv. This is on quitefrankly.tv and pilled.net. We've got Robert Sarnes, Mr. Zoe. That's TZO, not Zoso, dude. Thank you, Reggie. Into Bushes, 827. Where are the rebel bases? Says Brewbark. Sean Joe, thank you. Sal says love L. Cat Mom. Thanks for coming back on quitefrankly.tv. Thanks, Frank, for being awesome. I appreciate it. And thank you, thank you again, Lauren, for coming on. Smalls, Tennessee, says, went out to the motorcycle today and Swimming Through Air came on my playlist, came on, and it was wonderful. I got to play the Swimming Through Air video on this show again soon. I got to work that in more often. And I got to play that. Aurora would... There was a few months where Aurora asked for it every time that we got into the car. She called it Antony's song. Can you put on Antony's song? I don't think she's called Anthony yet. I think it was still Antony. Let's see here. Porpoiseful, thank you. Oil Man. Whole bunch of cookies from Oil Man. Then Sean Joe the same. NX17 says Lauren's the best. And then Sean Joe and Joe Elaine. Thank you, guys and gals. I'm going to be releasing the scratching in a second. The last call of the night is from 850. Go ahead, 850.
Oh, good. Oh, my gosh. Okay. Yay.
Hello.
I'm here.
Yes.
Hey, Frank, what's up?
Just turn off that stream in the background. Thank you.
I just did. I just muted it.
Wonderful.
I'm so excited because this is the second time I've called. The first time I called, I didn't know that you called your callers by the area code and you cut me off before I got in.
Did I?
And, yeah. Well,
Okay.
that's okay. I mean, it was my fault. I didn't know how it worked.
Okay.
And this is Katie B in Florida.
Wonderful to have you on.
And okay, thank you. So I'm kind of just over it all. and I tune in occasionally, and I love it when you have like Tim, Catholic Tim on.
Tim Gordon.
Talked about the Shroud of Turin and things like that. And I sent y'all a book probably last year. Anyway, I wish y'all would like one day a week do religious stuff. That's not the good way to put it because that turns people off, but like biblical worldview stuff and get more into the alien stuff that is starting to, it's starting to become more in the mainstream.
Yes.
And I think how as time progresses, they're going to be putting the new world order or whatever is going to be putting one spin on it. And if you explore the biblical worldview of it, it could be very eye-opening and fascinating, and actually could save a lot of souls as, stuff goes down.
Well,
anyway.
I appreciate that, Katie. And, whereas I do, I understand it's one of those things they say one thing you shouldn't do at the dinner table is discuss politics and religion. And I don't mind about any of that stuff. Obviously, we do all of that. But usually I need to have, for example, when I have the concept of I see the shroud, or I grew up around the news of the shroud, I want to talk about that. Okay, I bring that and I throw it into the mix, and we start diving into that. And there's a lot of cool things along the way. Diana Poselka, she was a guest, I think, last year around April or something like that. Wonderful. She, a scholar who just studied the Bible and all the ancient languages, and through there came her, uncovering of the UFO phenomenon through Bible study and all that. Stories like that, I gotta stumble upon stories like that. It's not going to be okay. It's Bible study night here on Quite Frankly. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. It's that's, if I do something like that, it'll be in my private life, and if it comes up in conversation along the way, if it's germane to the conversation, that's the way I approach these things. But usually the topic follows. The booking usually follows the topic that comes to my mind. That's really it. And I got a lot of that. I love the whole idea of, eschatology and end of the world stuff and prophecy. And it doesn't always have to be Christian eschatology. I want to talk about ancient stories. I want to talk about a lot of things. There could be missing chips and fragments of things all over the place. Who the hell knows? So yeah. Thank you so much for the suggestion. Okay, we'll take one more call. 631, hello.
Hello, Frank. How are you?
I'm well. Who's this?
This is Cam again. I love your show.
Welcome, Cam.
And I most certainly love your Aurora intermission dance. That is so cute. Her little dance there. That is so cute as a former, I'm a dancer. I'm a nurse, but I also did that on the side, too.
That's right. That's right.
She's beautiful. She's beautiful. But I wanted to say a thank you to you for being so impartial and giving both sides of everything. You never, make someone feel bad. You just give both sides of the story. And I think that's so important when delivering news that is current.
Is there something, was there something tonight that, where that came through tonight?
Well, I think your whole show earlier just made, and this month made me so impressed because you never pick a side and say boo on that one or boo on this one.
Well, sometimes.
You really just give the facts and you present them very wisely and nicely, and I appreciate that. You can't watch the real news or the fake news now, as we're calling it now. I always watch you, and I appreciate you very much. That's all I wanted to say, and your little daughter's dance brightens my day when I see it.
Well, thank you, Cam. It's good to hear from you twice in 1 week. It's great that you got through.
I know. I should be asleep now. I got to get up at 4 a.m.
Oh. Well, go ahead. People need you.
We need you.
Well, I'll be here. I promise you. You got to go on a 4 a.m. shift, so you just go ahead and do that. Hey, I try. I got questions. I've got questions. I don't. Some nights I really don't feel that I'm really presenting facts. I'm just trying to start some conversation. Sometimes an unsolved mystery is just as curious as something that we have already, or interesting as something that we've already had all figured out. Just keeps on coming back, you know what I mean? But I don't know. I've got some pretty strong biases, I think, and I poo-poo a lot of things. But I'm willing to have my mind changed. Okay, that's it for tonight. Thanks again to Lauren. We'll be back on tomorrow night with Dr. Sean Brooks. You're not going to want to miss this one because I know he's going to be showing up well prepared. This is going to go all over the place because the education rabbit hole, especially in the way that he covers it, it's going to go into mind control. It's going to include events from over the weekend. There's a lot of the migrant stuff. Springfield, he said it's going to go just from Springfield to all over. I said intertwine everything you need, my friend. It's going to be great. So that's happening tomorrow. Reverend Bill Bean. Okay, there you go. There's a little bit of a religious topic. Reverend Bill Bean, The Exorcist, is coming back on September 18th. He's got a new book out. I want to talk about what's in there and anything else that he's seeing going on in the culture at large as we lead up to another very consequential election. All right, that's it for tonight, though. You can email me, quitefranklypodcast@gmail.com. You can send a super chat right now for me to read tomorrow at quitefranklysuperchat.com. And please become a sponsor. Get into the book club. Get ready for the film club for 2025 and every other universal perk that's thrown your way. And plenty of specialty perks on top of that. Remember, we're giving a lot of interesting stuff away if you become a pen pal. So I'll see you. Those are listed on Patreon or Subscribestar. Until tomorrow, good night.
I'll catch you on the flip side.
Will you shut up? No.